Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is January 26th meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Have a roll call.
Sandy Slavin.
Malcolm White.
Peter Dunlop.
And Jim Gibberti. Okay. We have minutes from October 27th.
Before we go into that, 2 weeks ago, we approved the 7/28 minutes. They were signed and delivered to Mr. Campita. They're still not on the town website. I sent an email today and received no response, and checked again this evening, and they're still not posted. So I'm disappointed that we approved them, but they're not posted yet on the town. Last meeting, we talked about doing 8:25 and 9:29. For this meeting, they're not on the agenda. We cannot talk about them. We cannot vote on them. There were Scribner's errors, which we could have corrected if they were on the agenda. But I have reviewed 10:27, 12:08, and 1:12, and all minutes are correct and in order. And I make a motion, we do no longer approve minutes, so that word approval must be removed from the agenda. I make a motion that we acknowledge the existence of those 3 sets of minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
500. Okay.
But I'm disappointed that the agenda was not, who approves the agenda?
Well, normally it would come to me. I did not get this agenda in advance, so can't.
So I'm disappointed that we cannot give the public the August 25th and September 29th. If the corrections were made. And can someone look into why 7/28 is not posted?
Guy, will you check with her?
Yeah, she was at a doctor's appointment today, so I'll check with her tomorrow.
All right. Sewer business. I'm going to skip the first item A because that's going to take us a little bit of time and go into the response for the submitted questions. But before we do that, I'd like to take a moment to address the residents' concerns, as we do empathize with your situation for the way this project has been handled up to this point. We will still have unanswered questions after tonight that we will address with you in a workshop forum so that a reasonable discussion can be held. The date has not been determined at this point, but I expect to be doing it in the near future. Prior to having this meeting, we're having our engineer put together an information packet that will more effectively explain the project, the reasoning, the grinder pumps, and the requirements we face moving forward. And you will all receive a copy of that prior to the meeting, so you'll have a chance to review it, and we'll have a discussion. We employ your patience in what has become a contentious project, and this should never have happened. I apologize for the communications issue and hope we can move forward. Because of the overall situation, this is not the arena to get involved in discussions, therefore the reason for the workshop. Going forward, your comments from tonight will be recorded, and where applicable will be addressed at the workshops. Any other questions you wish to bring up at the workshops will be more than welcome. Thank you for your indulgence. We'll go into the questions, and the way we have a list of the questions that were submitted. I think the easiest way, so it doesn't get redundancy or out of control, is Peter will read the question and I will read the answer. The answers aren't up for discussion, they're the answers to the question. Some of these answers probably will elicit further questions. Those should come all at the workshop, please.
Sorry. Mr. Chair, do you have your answers in writing?
Yes, I have my
So we can attach
no.
them directly to the minutes.
We'll discuss that. Peter?
You ready?
Yep.
Why didn't the town of Wareham officially notify the residents of Swift's Beach about this proposed project prior to the spring meeting in 2022?
The answer is it was in the town meeting warrant. It was also discussed at sewer meetings. And we did everything that was required by law. Probably wanted more, but that's okay. Go ahead, Peter.
What would the scope of work to be replaced, what would the scope of work to be replaced the collapsed section of sewer system on and around Wanquiko Ave?
We'd have to replace the entire length of Wanquiko Ave at an approximate cost of $6 million.
Have any requests or proposals/bids been requested or proposals/bids been submitted by contractors to replace the collapsed section of the sewer system on and around Wanquiko?
No.
Why was this type of repair, installing grinder pumps at each property, selected as opposed to replacing the collapsed section of sewer system on and around Wanquiko Ave?
Due to the degradation of the asbestos cement pipe, state and EPA require correction, and this was the least expensive.
Would it be possible to install a pump several feet below ground on Wanquiko Avenue that would pump wastewater to the closest manhole? This solution, as suggested in January 12th meeting, would have a significant cost saving to the town.
That couldn't be done as it's not an endorsed or approved method, nor will any certified engineer sign off on it.
Could you please make available to the public the video footage of the collapsed sewer system on or around Wanquiko Avenue? It is our understanding that this video has been requested for several months.
It should be on the website. If it isn't, it will be, and I will double check on that tomorrow, but the website is where it will be.
Are there any other infiltrations into the sewer systems in the Swifts Beach neighborhood? If so, do these infiltrations come from the lateral connections?
All of Swiss Beach is compromised.
What kind of maintenance has the town taken over the years on the collapsed sewer system on and around Wanquiko Avenue in order to avoid the current situation?
There's been routine camera inspections, and that inspection is done to identify the problems, and we found the problem.
Has the town undertaken any legal action to hold accountable the contractors who installed the failed lining on the collapsed sewer system on and around Wanquiko Avenue?
No, we haven't. The lining failed due to an illegal pump discharge during installation of the lining. Some pumps which are illegal throughout the town anyhow, at least into the sewer system.
Why did the town allow the lining of a collapsed sewer system?
Because it was determined it could be lined.
Why wasn't the collapsed sewer system repaired prior to it being lined?
Well, it was. The line itself was corrected.
What are the qualifications for the contractor selected to make the repair to the collapsed sewer system on and around Wanquiko Ave?
They were approved contractors for the state.
When will the project start?
It's going to start in the spring. The exact date is to be determined, and you will be notified.
Has the town received permission or or easements to work on private property?
Any private property that we have to work on, it will be determined on a case-by-case basis, and that will be dealt with individually.
Will the town assist homeowners to upgrade their electrical system when required to operate the grinder pumps?
If there is assistance available, we don't have that answer yet.
How will the town restore driveways that have been excavated in order to install the grinder pumps? Will the entire driveway need to be repaved?
At this point, we're not expecting to excavate any driveways.
Excuse me. What does the town to,
That again? What did you say about the driveways? Your answer?
We're not expecting to be excavating any driveways. They will be repaired if, in fact, we have to do that.
does the town intend to extend this project to other parts of Swift's Beach?
All of Swiss Beach.
Is Director Guy Campino a professional engineer?
No. Cheryl done.
Do you want me to go down to these?
Yep.
I have a blank on the contract
do I.
number, but I
I
think
can't
it's
remember.
2022-0001.
Something like that.
Yeah. Does contract number 01 cover the entire project approved by Article 15 of the annual Springtown meeting held on April 25th, 2022? Or is contract number
Same one.
2022-001 the first of a few phases?
If this particular contract covers the job that's being done, it is not, doesn't cover any other phase. That
What authority does the town have to require residents to pay for the electricity on town-owned grinder pumps?
These grinder pumps will not be owned by the town, they'll be owned by the homeowner. We're installing the grinder pumps, we're buying the grinder pumps, and they're the homeowners. We're not going any further.
For the grinder pumps being installed on private property,
It'll be your grinder pump.
But that doesn't answer the question.
excuse me?
The question,
Excuse me, that just didn't answer the question. The question was, will the town require the homeowners to pay for the electricity to connect?
it will be your grinder pump, so,
So is the answer yes or no?
yes.
So the town can require the,
Well, however you want to interpret it.
well, a yes or no would have been helpful the first time.
Yes or no, if it's your grinder pump, I guess you'll pay the electricity.
Because that's different information than I heard before. I heard before that the town would own the pump.
No.
The town would maintain it.
We will maintain it for you. We will maintain the pump.
What's the benefit of us owning it?
For the grinder pumps being installed on private property, does the town plan to obtain easements or to take the land by eminent domain? When will there be a town vote on either the easement or the taking?
Well, pumps are not being installed on private property, at least at this particular point, as far as we know. If it is, those will be handled on a case-by-case basis.
So we had somebody come in the middle of our driveway, the very middle of the driveway where
I have no idea, we're not discussing this right now. But I understand you've got a problem.
questions that are contrary to what we're told when the people
Well,
show up.
these are the answers, so we can go with the, please keep some of this for the
Does the town,
workshop, so that we'll be able to have a discussion. This is not a place for discussions, because we can go all night, and I'm not going all night.
does the town plan to pass a grinder pump bylaw laying out the residents' and town's responsibility instead of just a policy that can be changed at the whim of the sewer commissioners?
At the present time, it will be a policy.
Does the town plan to hire a consultant to perform maintenance for the grinder pumps?
No.
When will the construction of contract number 2022-001 begin?
In the spring.
A lot of home effectors by contract number 2022-001 are summer rental properties. Has the town considered how the grinder pumps and the renters will coexist? There are a lot more rules that come with grinder pumps than with a typical sewer line that most renters are used to.
Compliance will be the responsibility of the landlord.
How is the town paying for contract 2022-001? I hope I'm getting that number right.
Borrowing.
Have any grants been obtained to pay for contract 2022-001?
There are, as far as we know right now, there are no grants available, but we're looking into the lowest interest funding that we can acquire.
Is there an estimate to repair the broken pump on Waukeco instead of this huge undertaking?
The estimate a year ago, as I understand it, was a $3 million charge.
Can I ask a follow-up question on one of your answers? So, about the driveways.
No, I'd rather have all of that at the workshop when we will have the engineers there to address that particular issues.
That's one of the questions. Who is this gentleman right here?
If gentlemen continue to talk, you're not on the record.
That's right.
You gotta go to the center table, please.
Yeah, if you want to,
Yeah.
we're not having any more discussions right now.
I'm asking who this person is.
You can ask after the meeting is over. It's easier.
I think he's the
That's-
contractor that,
Yeah.
Can you come?
Uh,
That was easy.
Can we do,
manager.
That's about the only answer we got.
have any public comments? As I say, anything that goes on this, we will take them off the recording and we will address them
So
at the
we
workshop.
had questions that weren't answered. So can we just be on record as having some questions that were submitted that weren't
You certainly can. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, this,
Please
Jimmy, they have
to
to
the-
come up.
Come up and identify yourself.
my name is Stephen Kelly. I'm just curious when this,
Down, please, so we can see.
I'll give it a try. I have a bum knee. I don't want to hurt it any
don't-
further.
Don't do that.
When is this workshop going to occur?
Within the next month.
So in February, we hope?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
planning on it.
We don't have a date?
I don't have the date.
Nothing
because-
concrete, but we know it's
No,
next month?
It will
Oh,
be.
within a month?
Yep, you'll be notified in advance.
Okay, and how will we be notified? Will it be,
Well, for the people that are here tonight, I want to get an email address so that we can at least identify you people.
I thought maybe there'd be a
Further-
mailing out to everyone with,
I'm
different
not-
bills.
We'll put it on the website.
Oh, okay. All right, just as long as
It'll be-
people are notified.
it'll be notified.
Because a lot of notifications didn't go out on anything else.
I understand that.
Which is, I understand you addressed
That's-
that.
that's
as
the
a,
problem
We're
we're trying
very
to figure out.
sorry, but that doesn't pay, very sorry doesn't pay the bill.
So for the questions that were submitted that weren't answered tonight?
If you want to talk, please come up, identify yourself.
Jean Welch, with Beach Road. And there were a couple of questions that we submitted that,
Identify yourself, please. Just in the microphone. Otherwise, it's not recorded.
okay. Jean Welch, Ruggles Street, in Swift Beach area. Okay. So there were a couple of questions we submitted that weren't answered. I was just wondering, should they wait until the workshop, or
No,
would they be answered tonight?
well, might not get answers tonight, but
Okay.
you can address them, they'll be on there, they will be at the workshop.
Okay. So we live down there full-time and don't ever get anything. In old neighborhoods that we worked at, you got a letter in the mail, you got a letter in your mailbox that there was a meeting coming up, that you're in a butter of a property that's being worked on. We've never seen anything. We've heard from other people that there's meetings coming up. So, and We don't always go on the website, we don't look at an email. Has there ever been a paper mail sent to the residents in the neighborhood to even say about tonight's meeting? Is there, you just want the question and not the answer?
This is a sewer commissioners meeting. If you want to show up for it, you showed up. We don't send out notifications to individuals.
No, about the work being done in the neighborhood. So we had somebody show up in our driveway, in the middle of the driveway, unannounced, unnotified. He just showed up and he's looking in the middle of our driveway. So the question was, gee, if you're looking in the middle of our driveway we're going to drive on, is there work being done on our driveway? And he said, didn't anyone talk to you and tell you that I'd be here? Nope. So that's what people are worried about. Middle of the driveway, can you park your car after you put the pump in? Okay, so that's a question that can come up at the workshop. And then whether or not there'd be an easement or, restoration of a driveway, and can you drive over this? If it were put on a driveway, can you drive over it? You can. Okay, so we were told that you couldn't park on them if they were put in.
It'll be discussed at the meeting, but there's two different types of covers they can put on them, and you can drive over it.
Okay, so that answered the question that the guy didn't have the answer to. And it would be helpful to have notification. I know that it's hard to do. People don't look at emails or the website. If you could just send out notifications of meetings to people somehow.
How you doing? My name's Michael Raskin. I live at 33 Pleasant Street down in Swiss Beach, obviously. In terms of notifications, this is a follow-up to what you were saying, the town does have like a mass notification system. They send things out when, you got to boil the water, or there's a big storm coming, or a hurricane coming. Just sort of on an emergency management side, they have a notification system. I've signed up for it, like Wareham alerts. And then the other thing is sort of following what you were saying that as part of the project, they're not going to be digging anybody's driveway. But obviously, in order to connect to it, you'd have to dig up something on your property to connect, right? In other words, when we do the connection, that's going to be on our property with the driveway, correct? I would assume?
You're going to be doing it.
But we're going to be doing it, all right. But there is digging involved. That was, I'm like, how's it going to get connected? But they're going to have to dig a trench or something. That's all. All right, thanks.
Anybody else want any comments?
Can I just ask about the timeline? So if the workshop, again, Jean Welch, sorry, I should have asked this earlier. If the workshop is in February and spring starts March 21st, technically, and the work is starting in the spring of 2023, I would imagine, where's the sort of disconnect of when the workshop is and when they're going to start working on the driveways or on the land or wherever? Is there,
We haven't set a date
spring
on-
can be anything from March 21st to June. Is there any, somebody must have a start date.
At this point, we do not.
Do you know of a start date?
I do not. They're planning on starting in the spring. What they're waiting for is some covers. They said approximately 14 weeks before they get them in, so there's some issues with components. But they say spring, and spring, we'll say spring, summer in that time frame. They don't have an exact when we get one, we'll give it to you, but they're saying spring,
So
summer.
14 weeks is 3 months and
Yeah,
they've
something
been
like that.
ordered?
Yeah, but yeah, they had to order them, and it's about 3 months before they come in.
From
So
now or from 3 months ago?
Probably, he talked to me a week ago, so I'm assuming it was a week. He didn't tell me when he's ordering them, but last week when it was the contractor, said approximately 14 weeks before the components come
Right.
in.
So 3 months could be
he wouldn't stop before then,
summer.
so, yeah, he wouldn't stop before then.
Right when, well, he should be able to continue to talk. Were you
Right,
asking him
I'm
to
not
stop?
Spending the night on discussion.
Apologize.
I'm
Mr.
not,
Chairman.
but you asked him to stop talking.
No, I'm just,
Yeah, he's
we're not going to continue.
Right, so that gets into the
down.
summer, which is then when
don't have
people
an
are starting to use the street and for the beach.
don't want to do it then. But- Any other comments? Okay. Moving along then, I'm going to go back up now to the update on the policy reviews. We've got ones from last meeting that the selectmen disbanded, did away with, because they're no longer sewer commissioners. These were sewer policies that they put in place. So we have got essentially 6, 7, 8, 3, 6, 8 policies that we essentially need to reaffirm in going over these. Saw nothing that we were going to be changing based on what's happening at the present time, so. And we have got forms on all of them that need to be signed, which we can do at the end of the meeting. Now,
The agenda does not allow us to take any vote on these. Review and discussion. So there's no way to sign anything because the agenda does not include it.
oh, good, that's right,
That's
too.
good.
Great old
That's
open
good.
meeting.
That'll give us 2 weeks to look it over.
Yep.
And it's got to be clear which ones, we got a whole packet, so I'm not sure which ones.
Well, you need to just go through them, there's 2 separate.
can we-
You need to pull them up, go through them, you got 8 there that are the selectmen's that we need to reaffirm, and then we have got 3 additional ones that are new and different.
Are we going to discuss them?
Yeah, is it possible, Mr. Chair,
Certainly.
that we list the ones of the 8 you want to reaffirm?
You have that sheet from the selectmen, right there?
Not on this, not on this agenda.
No.
Well, if we can't act on them,
We can discuss them, but we can't vote on them.
okay, but what I'm saying is, okay,
I don't-
those are the ones on that sheet that you have right there.
Wait a minute, let me go through everything. Yes, I found it. So these 8, all right. I guess maybe it's the order they're presented in our packet, but I don't see policy 33, water pollution control facility staffing.
As I said, we have got 3 others that aren't on the list. That's one of them. We have a policy on commercial and industrial connections to sewer force mains. That's not on that list of selectments. And we have a policy, engineering firm grant policy.
Okay, so policy 31,
That's
32,
31.
and 33.
And 32 is a service charge policy, and number 33 is the water pollution control facility staffing.
So these are new policies
These are
that
new
did not
policies,
come
as I
from the
mentioned.
selectmen. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes, sir.
may,
Yes,
the policies that you got from the selectmen, on the top of these, it has a date, 5/12/16. The board reaffirmed these policies in 2016. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I thought I'd mention that.
well,
And that would be this board.
no, I understand that. I saw that on some of these things, guys. So
Thank you.
I was going to do these as a lump, but seeing as it's not listed specifically on the agenda, we can't, so.
So to clarify, the ones with the date is called a 1303 Wareham sewer policy.
It's on abatements.
Even though it's called policy on residential connections to sewer force main, is that the same thing as the Wareham sewer policy?
Yeah, it's the same number.
Yeah, but it's not the same name on the,
Well, it is now.
on this summary. It becomes very confusing looking at these documents as to, so Guy, you're saying because this has 5/12/16, we already adopted it?
That is correct. In 2016, there was a meeting and a workshop from the board, and the board
Okay,
adopted
yes,
these
we-
policies.
okay.
Absolutely.
So we have another one on May 12th, 16, called policy number blank, policy on commercial and industrial connections to sewer force mains. Which one is that one on the list?
That's not on the list. That's one of the ones that we have that is not on the list.
Oh, even though it's dated, I'm very confused as to what
And you're
we're...
going to have us all that way in a minute.
Oh, okay,
Successfully.
but it, Guy says it's been adopted because it's got a date on it. Correct?
Well, if we don't have anything on the agenda
We
that
can
allows
dis-
us to vote on this,
But if we could understand what to do with in the next 2 weeks, it would give us a better understanding on how to vote for it in the next meeting, but I need to understand what we're looking to vote on.
actually, I think we're looking to vote on everything, to reaffirm what's here, even if we've already done it.
It's all the ones that are at the top, Jim.
Mr. Chairman, in 2016, the ones from the selectmen, that's all I'm speaking of, the list you got, they were reaffirmed from the selectmen. You guys took over in 2015. In 2016, you reaffirmed or adopted whatever language you want to use, those policies. So that's-
All of these.
Yes,
Okay.
last meeting, you asked me to look into them. She looked them up, she found the dates that they were reaffirmed, so they're done. We've already accepted them. I don't know why there needs to be
So
a
the
vote on
ones-
something you've already
The ones
adopted.
that are marked up, Sandy, we're not dealing with. Those have been dealt with.
Okay, I'm just trying to reconcile to this list
I
that we
don't have
got.
that list.
Throw it away.
Yes, throw it away? Jimmy said looked at it. Okay, then I won't look at it
Well,
anymore.
that can be, what I did is I put them all together so that they match up.
I don't know how you matched them, since I can't
Easy.
get names
Just took a
and
little while-
titles.
It just took a little while.
Okay,
The one that I didn't have anything on which is marked with 516, is the policy on commercial and industrial connections to sewer force mains. She's got it marked as a 516 on the sheet, but I really don't see anything other than that 516 where it was adopted, or I know it has been, but
Yeah.
it was it wasn't the selectman thing, it had to be ours, wasn't it?
Yes, we just adopted, the selectmen wrote originally, I think it was Sarah Ward's back, I think, I'm going to say 1998. At that time, connecting to a force main was a new thing, so they set up a policy. We just adopted it in 16, as it was written, we just adopted it, which speaks to duplex pumps in a commercial building, speaks to
You're right, Peter, that
maintenance
one shouldn't be
agreements,
in.
and it speaks to a lot of
That one
different things, so
shouldn't
we
be
just
in there.
adopted it.
Sorry.
Okay,
is it possible that all these policies can be put on a document that looks like this to be standardized and given our own policy number? Because I got a letter
that's the
here.
way we're going.
Well, I got a letter here dated October 16, 1998. There's no dates on it, so I guess we haven't adopted it.
Andy, we weren't here then.
I know, but I don't know if this is a policy.
Mr. Chairman, if I may recommend, there's a policy book that she has all these in.
Right.
Maybe stop by, we can go over it with you, and if you want a copy of the book, we'll give you a copy of the
I
book.
have it, but
but no, what I'm
there's no
saying-
policy number on this, so I don't know how a book would have something that this doesn't.
Yeah, the book, I think she just made photocopies, but the book has it, so I would recommend stop by, go over the book with her, and she'll give you all the numbers. And if you need a copy of the book, she'll provide one.
I was given a copy when I became a sewer commissioner. I will check it, but if this copy doesn't have a number, then I doubt if there's a number in the book, but I will look.
Can't answer that without the book. Okay, let's,
So can it be clear on the next agenda, we have the true name or the policy number of the ones we want to vote on? Because I'm confused.
now, we've got ones that we need to consider.
Are we going to discuss them then?
We can discuss them, we just can't vote on
That's
them.
fine.
We've got the engineering firm grant policy, that's number 31.
Yeah.
If an engineering firm recommends a grant opportunity to the town of Wareham and completes the grant application, the same firm shall be entitled to the engineering services that accompany that grant. Comments? Anybody? Questions?
So if the engineering firm goes ahead and does all the work on getting the grants, then what we're saying is that they should therefore get the project.
Get the work.
Is that
Yeah.
basically what we're saying?
Yes,
Yes.
Well, that only seems fair.
that's why we put it in June of this year, of last year. So
Okay.
this is a fairly recent one.
So when we can vote on it, then we'll affirm this one?
Well, I thought we signed it on June 23rd, 2022. But maybe not. I remember, we voted on it.
Okay, well, but we don't, no further discussion on it.
I guess,
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. Number two, Jimmy.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, I want to remind the board that during COVID, there's a lot of virtual meetings where things just didn't get signed timely. So we can go through it all. There may be some missing signatures, but during COVID, we weren't getting together at all. No one was talking, no one was meeting. It was just all virtual. So that may be
Signing
part of
stuff
the
either.
problem, so I apologize for that.
June 23rd, 2022, we were,
No, that's
okay.
a different one. No, that
All
one
right.
you guys signed.
Next one.
Service call charge,
Which one's this one?
32.
30.
Sump pump connections to the sanitary sewer system are illegal in the town of Wareham. Sump pumps will need to be disconnected from the sewer line immediately. The Wareham Water Pollution Control Facility will charge a $350 service call charge each time the WPCF will respond to emergency alarms on a grinder pump
Peter.
due to the property owner's negligence causing any damage to the grinder pump or to the sanitary sewer system. Service calls relating to non-flushable items, such as deragging the grinder pump, as well as repairs to the grinder pump, will be charged. Service call alarms relating to grinder pump failure or any manufacturer defect will be serviced at no charge. The list of non-flushable items can be found on the Town of Wareham website. The service call invoice will be sent via mail.
I don't have that one, so.
they were the first three on top, 31, 32, 33.
At this point, nothing's on top.
Oh. We had this one last meeting that we didn't vote on.
That's correct.
Well, we don't have to vote on it, so.
We're not voting
What's the
here, we're
discussion?
discussing.
I think someone should take a look at it grammatically. There's some errors in here.
More interested in content. We can correct grammatical afterwards as
Well-
well. But is the content something that we want to continue with, or does that need to be addressed? Does anybody have issues with what it says, or what it states, or what it does? Okay, then grammatically.
On the fourth line, service call charge each time the WPCF will respond. I think the word "will" shouldn't be there. Each time the WPCF responds, as opposed to "will respond." That's just, it doesn't read right.
Anything else?
So we agree on the concept.
I think so.
I have no other comments.
No, I have no more comments.
Okay, Donna? Okay. Number 33, I think this was brought up at the last meeting, we discussed this before, the water pollution control facility staffing. Board of Sewer Commissioners.
That simply brings us into alignment with state regulations.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't have an issue with that.
I don't either.
Okay, then this has to be delineated for the next meeting for voting.
Yes.
Are you
we
gonna
need-
go through the rest of
Is it-
it? You gonna go through the rest?
No, we're gonna just do it as a bulk, that's,
Well,
what do you want?
the one on abatements. When did we come up, and what's the logic behind it, the water having to be off for a full year?
That wasn't us.
Just a question.
Yeah, it goes way back. I think the problem is that folks was turning the water off, and water's being turned off September, being turned back on in April. The sewer department wasn't being notified. We had folks that went multiple years without paying a sewer bill because once the water was off, we stopped billing. So we made a policy that each year the water goes off, you need to put it back. It has to be done by a water district, whether it's Onset or Wareham. And then it has to be off for 1 year to eliminate the on-off, and the missing of the billing, because once water goes off again, we don't bill. And that was simple as that. That was done in, I'm going to say, the late 90s.
Yeah, I
early
understand
2000s.
it goes way back. I researched
Well,
it. I just still don't understand why it has to be off for a year. I mean, why couldn't it be off for one billing period?
Because I guess I'm going to speak for what I was told, because I didn't get involved in the process, but what I was told, that 1 full year is 2 billing cycles. So it had to be off for 2 billing cycles. If it was off, we'd abate. If it wasn't off for 2 billing cycles, then you didn't get an abatement. So if you put it off in September, put it back on in spring, you're paying the sewer. Because within that year, you had sewer on. So for 1 complete year, 2 billing cycles is the rationale that they use. Makes sense to me, and I didn't have any debate about changing it. It's 2 billing cycles, 1 year.
Mr. Chair, can I ask?
But you're saying that if it isn't off for a year, it's not up for abatement?
Correct. If
Well, if
you,
we change the policy, it would be.
it's up to you.
Well,
up
that's,
to you.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious as to why we've decided on a year.
We were missing, the real reason we were missing money, from the 6 months, we would, sewer bills or sewer accounts would go on hold, never come off. We had a condominium whole development that went 3 years without paying a sewer bill. We had downtown offices that didn't pay sewer bills for multiple years. And so the selectmen at that time, the sewer commission at that time, decided to make it 1 complete year, because people were putting it off, putting it back on. And you
Okay.
could come in for abatement after a year. Simple as that. So that's,
So currently, our sewer department notified when water is turned off? Because I thought I heard you say we are told when water is disconnected.
we are.
I thought I heard you say that.
We are, when you apply for an abatement,
No.
you bring the letter.
No.
Nobody tells us anything.
Okay, so
It's
what
the letter.
happens is that we have no record when water is shut off.
Nothing.
Nor do we have a record when water is turned back on. Because we don't have that communication with the water departments, we either charge for sewer that doesn't happen, or they get free sewer because we didn't know water was turned back on. Because we don't have that communication with the water departments, we don't know when it comes on or off, which is why we asked them to abate requesting if the water's been off for a year.
That's correct.
We don't know if the water's coming on
I
or off.
understand that.
Well,
That's
but
the reason
all
for
of
it.
Yeah.
that's fine, well and good, but my question was why a year as opposed to one billing cycle or 6 months?
I wonder how you would manage that.
It's easier to manage, I would think. After it being off for a year, you know,
Well, that's what we do now.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I think Peter's saying why. Can't we do it if it's off for 6 months? I don't understand how. I would tend to think it would be a nightmare with the billing. Well, I'm off for
If
4
it-
months out of the 6 months.
Hypothetically, if it was off for 6 months, they could file for an abatement for one billing period.
If it is the
Is
full,
there something wrong with that?
if it's a full 6
This
months,
is questions, I'm not,
No, I get it. I'm thinking that in 6 months, you put it on, you put it back off. Then you put it on, you put it back off, and if we don't get the information until they apply for abatement, they may get a free cycle. So at that time, we decided for 2 cycles, then you can come and say, okay, I had it off for a full cycle, we give you back your $600 for the year at that time, whatever it was.
no, I
And
think Peter is
that's how they worked
saying,
it.
could we consider it being
could.
off for 6 months to give an abatement?
well,
could.
it was just a question,
Just, that's the question.
yeah.
You could,
And
because we don't stop
The
billing.
only other thing I'd like to add to the policy is, as I asked you once about the abatement check for a friend of mine, and you said they wouldn't get an abatement.
No.
They can request an abatement, and they can get a check.
They get, if they have a sewer bill, they have credit, it goes credited to their account.
If we grant them an abatement, if they request a check, the treasurer will write it.
Okay.
Well, I just think that should be included in the
Yeah,
policy,
They would have to call the treasurer. That's a good point,
so
yeah.
that they know.
That's the first time I heard of that. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, well,
I mean, because, yeah, if they're going to be disconnected for quite some time, they may want the check. But the billing is continual, so
I
that they
understand
just
why
credit.
you were
So
doing it,
that's- yeah,
and John went into all of that, but say they were moving.
That's a different story, yes, yes.
So
Big check
so
cashed
they
out.
can request a check and get one.
So they don't get a check today if they're approved an abatement?
No,
Not necessarily.
it's credited
So
to
what
their account.
happens?
It gets credited to their account,
You get a credit.
so they don't.
For when
overlook-
so when they turn it back on, there's a credit hanging on to be attached, if it's the same owner. If it's the same owner.
That's
The
something
credit
that-
is to the location regardless of the person, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just asking.
Next.
It's an interesting one to discuss.
What's the next one? Because that one has not been approved, correct?
Well, it's one of the ones you want to have written on our own stationery.
But right now, it is not approved by us,
Not by us.
because there's no date on it. Okay, next one?
Well, just start at the top and work down. You get the residential connections of sewer, which is the first
Wait.
one,
Give me a second. Resident, is that the one with the?
1303.
1303?
That says sewer commission at the top of the sheet.
Okay. And that looks like it was dated May 12th.
Doesn't have a policy number on it.
No.
Isn't this one of the ones that I rewrote?
Because, Jimmy, if you look at that one we just talked about, there is a formal sewer commissioner policy number document attached to it, which is the one we will be signing.
Right, the same thing with this one, the
Yep.
one I'm talking about right now. It's has
Yes.
attached to it also.
Next one.
And you go on, the next one is, this is from 98. And we have one attached, this is connection of homes and businesses to gravity mains. The sewer connection fee will be assessed based on the amount of money that would have been paid had a betterment been issued on the property using the same betterment formula that has been used the past decade. Effective on, that was
1998, it's more than one decade.
Right. Board of Sewer Commissioners decide whether or not the connection request shall be granted. Projects done on a phase-by-phase basis will be assessed on the phases. That's one.
I don't think we need to say past decade.
We can change that.
It's just the betterment formula that has been used in the past.
Mr. Chairman, it's the most recent betterment. That's what it was changed
So
to.
it needs to say the most recent
Most recent
betterment.
betterment.
There's a couple of things got to be changed on this as far as, one is just a spelling thing on based. And then that past decade come out and readjusted.
Right, it's most recent. I think it's $18,000 to date.
Right,
That's the charge,
that's our latest. But I wouldn't put that number in, I just put the,
most recent.
and then we have seating capacity EDU. Seating capacity EDU assessment for the sewer user fees shall be determined by the seating capacity as issued on a permit by the Department of Inspectional Service.
Well, not what I'm reading. It says by the Board of Health.
I'm reading the policy that's on there for us.
I'm seeing policy statement, seating capacity EDU, one single page.
Mr. Chairman, it was changed to the inspectional services.
Right.
Because they have to have an architectural plan about seating for restaurants. It's a fire code. So the Board of Health didn't have that number, so it was changed to whatever the inspectional service stated to be,
Right.
based upon the design of the architect and engineer.
Okay.
That's what we accepted for EDU seats.
Not on what I have. What do you have?
You've got the other sheet. You've
No,
got
I
the-
don't. I have a single sheet that says
You have
Board of
two
Health.
sheets. You should have one sheet that says seating capacity EDU that's signed by Renee and Brenda and Potter.
Yeah, I have that.
Okay, then you should have a sheet in the next sheet that says
I
seating
don't.
capacity EDU.
I don't.
That has what I just read.
Sandy.
That's all right, well, we'll get it for next meeting. So I'm missing a page. Okay, you too?
No, I have that.
Okay, I don't.
Have the Wareham sewer bill.
On the one for EDUs, should we state how many seats it is for an EDU?
That'll be determined by inspectional services.
There's a chart that we have. So example, if it's, I'm going to say glassware or regular plates, it's 12, it's one EDU per 12 seats.
Right.
If it's paper plates, it's one EDU per 8 seats, but there's a chart, so we'd apply that chart. There's an EDU schedule.
So, in some cases it's 8, some cases it's 12?
That is correct. In some cases, it's less if it's like a buffet or a function hall. So there's different categories, and if you look at the EDU sheet, the schedule, it'll break it down for you. And then, so when we get the inspectional services, we take it from there, and we apply it, and then we charge the EDUs.
Should we attach that chart to this policy?
Too fluent, because remember 2 years ago, we started looking at all the EDU rates and we got past only a single occupancy building. We didn't go beyond that. We were supposed to review those EDU rates a couple years ago and didn't go anywhere. I would expect that chart to be fluid. I would not put it attach it to the policy. I make reference to it in case it changes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, back to Wareham sewer bill. This policy was originally adopted in 12. think there's anything. Pretty much the same.
Can I have a, there's a Board of Sewer Commissioners in the office of the Board of Sewer Commissioners?
Well, that's when they were at that, that's when they used to be the selectmen, right?
No, it says 6 Tony's Lane. I didn't know whether it was an office of sewer, an office for the sewer commissioners.
There's a trailer there.
There was a trailer there.
Give you the key?
Huh?
We didn't give you the key?
No.
There was, yes, there was. Yes.
I wonder if that should be changed to website or something. It's hard to believe that our EDU schedule cannot be available to people other than going to the office of the Board of Sewer Commissioners.
It's on the website, but so you're right, we'll add it also.
There should be a copy is available on the town's website under water pollution control, whatever our webpage is called. Because some of these, this is dated just by the way it's written. Okay.
This is the sewer, the sewer bills. They certainly go into a lot of explaining of the abatements.
That, you need to adjust that.
I wonder if...
It's on the back of the bill, so when the bill goes out, in the back of the bill is the abatement policy?
Yes, but when you turn in your receipt for
Yeah,
paying
yeah.
it, that information goes in the check, goes with your check, so they don't have it anymore. So it's not as if, I've complained about it since I got my sewer bill.
I thought
I
it was
paid my-
different last time.
Nope, I pay my bill, I lose that information about abatement.
Yeah, I know, but I thought after you mentioned it, I thought the last time I got the bill, they had moved it.
I didn't think so last time I looked.
They may have made it smaller. It's a printing thing.
And like it's on the prescription label.
We used to be real small, and someone wanted it really big, so we kept expanding the font, and then you'd lose a lot. So, you know, I don't know where the happy medium is. And to do another sheet, it's a process.
No, that's
Whole
costly.
process to do another sheet.
Okay, Next one.
The only thing I'm saying is that, on that basis, a complete copy of the EDU schedule is available on the website or at the office.
Well, on the ED, the second paragraph under the ED system, a complete, but we wanted
I
the
said
sewer
right there.
commission, you want to get rid of the Board of Selectmen?
doesn't say Board of
Doesn't say
Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen.
Mine does.
Yeah,
You got the wrong sheet.
you got
Go
you
down.
got the,
That's
Keep going.
typical.
There you go.
so what is attached is what we will be signing with our own policy number, not what's left over from the selectmen.
Just needs to make
That's why it's
make that change. That's all.
attached pages.
The next one is connection to sewer line. This is sewer commissioners to designate the WPCF as its agent for issuing sewer connection permits and inspecting the completed work of the licensed drain layer who makes the connection to public sewer from a residence or commercial property. Pretty straightforward.
Hey, it's one Alan signed. That's how old it is.
Stephen Holmes. Here. That one's, actually. Then the designation of agent for sewer connection, which is slightly different. Sewer commissioners to designate the WPCF as its agent for issuing sewer connection permits
Excuse me.
and inspecting completed work. Not the same, but I don't have that.
I don't have that one. Nope, found it.
That's one and the same. Looks like one and the same. Although it's, yeah, that's one and the same. That's a duplicate right there. I'm sorry about that. two different dates, though, on the policy statement. Both, one's 1202 and one's 1203. I can't tell you.
It's, I'll have to look in the book, which we'll do. I'm gonna get copies,
Wait a minute,
send you
wait a
a
minute,
copy.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay. Nice, okay, one is connection to sewer line, and one is designation of agent for sewer connection. That's the difference. Okay.
At one time, the plumbing inspector was designated for the selectmen to do connections. That's probably why
That's
they
right,
changed
too.
it.
You're right, forgot about that. So now we're into abatements.
We did that one.
Okay, abatements is done. Okay, I'm just going in order of what I had here.
Oh, sure. I shuffle them, and now you're gonna go in order.
Oh, I'm trying to do that. Keeps you thinking. I don't want you to fall asleep. Fog control policy, we've been over this one. I thought we'd already approved this guy.
We did, but, Mr. Chairman, we're working with the town of Bourne and DEP on a new fog policy. I'll send you a copy. We have a fog policy. We even had a meeting at the Elks, and we introduced it, and we talked to we had a bunch of people in from restaurants, we went over it. So, yeah, we've done that. I think it was 2016.
Right, we did it, because we had that meeting down at the Elks.
We did, and we did. And we gave out videos and, best management practices, all that good stuff. So we have. But what happened is Plymouth went through a major problem a few years ago, and grease became one of the issues. And so between the EPA and the DEP, they wrote some really great regs on fog for the town of Plymouth, and it's been adopted. And the DEP sent it to me and to the town of Bourne. We're working with the town of Bourne now to develop a good fog program. So I thought that maybe this would be a good opportunity to review what we have, what they're suggesting, and see if we can incorporate it and move forward. So I'll give you a copy of what the DEP sent me, what we're working with Bourne on, and then we can make a decision if you want to adopt that or continue where we're going.
What has happened? I thought is the Board of Health still doing the inspections for us? Has anything happened with that?
No, he hasn't had time. Well, no, he hasn't done inspections.
So we're back to having nobody inspecting the issue of grease in restaurants.
When they call, I go out and inspect them, like the bigger ones. I think Wareham Crossings is involved, Dunkin' Donuts is doing it, Crouton Factory is doing it. So I go out and I watch them pump them, I inspect them, I do the measurements.
But how many of the other restaurants?
All the mom and pop, I can't get to. There's no way I can get to them.
Because I thought we were going to hire somebody to do this, and you said, no, the Board of Health will do it for us.
The Board of Health, well, they said they would because they have the enforcement power, and they go out annually anyways, but it just hasn't happened.
Just hasn't happened.
No, ma'am.
In the meantime, we've got a lot of grease in our system.
We keep getting more, yeah, we do.
Peter?
What's an organic polar compound?
Sorry?
What's an organic polar compound?
Polar?
What it says.
I don't say what, I don't understand the word, I don't know. Organic compound, yeah, but polar, I'm not so
Is there a
sure.
number you're looking at?
It's under the fog, fat, oil, and grease, the on
Yeah, I don't remember the word polar.
this section of it, Candy. The
Polar?
second section of that.
I don't know. Polar, P-O-L-A-R?
Right. Organic polar compounds derived from animal,
All plant sources.
Organic, but I don't know what polar.
multiple carbon chain triglyceride molecules.
Fat.
Well,
Yeah, but the word
Why
polar.
can't you just say that?
No, polar, I don't know polar.
God's sakes.
I have to say what polar, organic polar.
Jesus.
P-O-L-A-R.
No wonder nobody follows these policies. You're putting all their organic polar compounds down the drain.
And multi-carbon chain
Yeah,
triglyceride
so it's
molecules.
I haven't seen
Electronegative
one of those in
atoms.
my house. I don't know what the hell those look like.
You'll be on sewer soon.
Yeah.
So this is,
The negative atoms.
This is organic polar compound.
Oh, that's what it is. Now I understand. That makes perfect sense. I got one of those. I've been working hard at it. Merciful heavens. Okay. Yeah, I think we probably should get a look at whatever that fog program is that they're coming up with.
It's pretty
See
extensive.
what we need to, if we need to do anything in addition, because I thought we were pretty well
I'll send it over
covered.
to each member so you can read it. We sent it to Bourne, they're reading it, their engineers are reading it. Town administrator, so they're really trying, yeah, absolutely. I'll send it over to you folks also.
Okay. All right, we need to get these on the next agenda so we can vote on and sign what's necessary. A couple of these need to be,
And the only one that's in question is the last one.
right.
The fog,
Get
the
more-
fog one?
We need more information from Bourne, so we just do it once.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Guy, those are approved minutes
You know what I mean.
at the office?
Okay,
These are improvements, okay. Here's my board. Yeah, she'll grab them, I just put them here, she grabs them.
Guy, can we slide into superintendent's report?
To be posted. Yes. Mr. Chairman, if I may, we met with the EPA and the DEP about expanding the discharge to the Agawam River. It was, I believe it was well-received, so did the engineers. It's a consideration. The big issue, and no one has an answer for, is that we just received our new medium-sized wastewater plant permit. It's a general permit. It includes 44 other treatment plants in the state of Massachusetts. If we modify our permit, because we're asking to go from 1.56 to 2 million gallons per day into the river, then they don't know if they have to pull us out of the 44 others, what we call the general permit, and put us into our own category, or can they do it under the general permit? We also have to do some work with degradation because of the anti-degradation rules and regulations about discharge into a waterway. We also have to take off some nitrogen loads off the Agawam River, which would be around probably the Mayflower Ridge, probably the other one across from the concrete facility, and probably the trailer park, because they discharge directly to the Agawam River. We'd have to remove that nitrogen because they're septic systems and they're higher than 40 milligrams per liter, and then get it through the plant at 4. They also suggested that they would lower our permit to 3 parts per million of nitrogen, so it'd become more stringent. And these are all the things we have to vet through to be able to increase our flow to the river. There's no timetable, there's no promises, but they listened. They had some good questions. They also suggested that we continue to pursue the Cape Cod Canal. They believe the regional plan is worth doing. The EPA is really encouraged by it. We talked to the EPA permit writer, and also we talked to the new director, or temporary director of Region 1. So we got some good positive feedback, but there's a long road to go, a lot of hoops to jump, and so we're going to work through it and jump through those hoops.
And who represented the town of Wareham?
GHD. They're writing this is all part,
I'm
we
sorry,
feel.
so GHD attended this meeting, when was the meeting?
Oh, God, last week? I don't have a date, I'll get the date for us. Last week. We met with them last week.
Zoom or in live?
It was Zoom, it was,
So we couldn't be invited?
no, I got invited and I joined in. They sent me an invite, I went in. It was with GHD, EPA, DEP, a regional DEP, Boston DEP, and of course,
So
Boston EPA.
GHD will be giving us minutes?
I don't know if
I'm
they-
going to request
Ask them.
GHD.
I'll ask them.
Will you please ask them to provide us with the minutes?
Because-
Or their notes?
They may have notes, because the meeting was through the state website, so I don't know, I don't really know about minutes. I'll ask. I have no idea.
Or how about a report, having them come and talk to us?
They can. if you want.
Because
That's
I
up to
have
you.
questions, and I think I'd rather, I can ask, who represented to GHD?
Anastasia, Mark, and
Okay.
Russ. So you'll have them do a presentation.
I would love to have a, is it all right, Mr. Chair, if we invite them to a future
Yeah,
meeting? Because I would,
Sure.
this is critical for us because we can't get off our moratorium until we can have an increased discharge as one alternative.
We've been talking about that, and we'll get the same thing. I mean, what Guy just got through explaining, as I heard it, is that he has talked to all these people, as we've talked to them before, and they're all nod their head, yeah, but they're not gonna put anything in writing, and they're not gonna guarantee anything, and they're not gonna say, yeah, go ahead and do this, because it's gonna happen, but they're gonna make all positive noises.
I'd like the public to hear,
Yeah, I mean,
Hear it.
that's where we've been going right along with all of this damn stuff.
Yes.
We can't get a commitment.
I'll ask the
From
EPA
anybody.
and the DEP. It's very rare to get them both. We're able to get them on the both screen, but it's very rare to get them in the same room. So I don't know the rules and regulations of meetings they put on. That's beyond me. I can ask the question and tell them that Sandy would want us want them there, or the public. I don't really know. I'll ask. That's all I can
well,
do.
can we invite GHD to our next meeting
You
to
can.
discuss
No,
it?
we already,
Yeah,
I think we already
okay.
did that.
All
That's
right.
fine. You can ask GHD, because they'll report to you what they did in the meeting. Very
Me and
positive.
anybody else who would be willing to listen to our moratorium problems. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, they are. They did. They're very aware of it.
Go ahead, Peter.
So, Guy, those areas you mentioned adjacent to the river are all private systems?
They're on private systems.
So they have the cart before the horse.
No, it's,
They want us to remediate that, and
Yes.
we can't increase our capacity.
so here's
Do that.
here's the issue. The law says we cannot increase our flow if we discharge a river that's impaired. The Agawam River is repaired. The Wareham River is impaired.
Right.
Technically, they can just say, here's the law. Absolutely not, because you have an impaired waterway and you can't discharge one more drop. That's the short answer. We said to them how much we needed at the outfall temporarily till we got a permanent outfall. We explained to them our issues. We explained to them the fact that we're in a moratorium, that we've committed to 250,000 gallons we haven't received. We explained it all to them. So they started to listen, and they want to help us. We don't know what they don't know, because it's, A, we have a new permit, it's all new ground. But they're trying to work with us in contradiction to the law that says we cannot add another drop because it's an impaired waterway. So one thing they suggested is that it would make sense if you remove the load from the houses. I think there's 200 and something houses, because we know that's a greater load. We know that if we take that load away and send it to the plant, that we're going to reduce the load considerable. And the bottom line is we may be able to stay where we are now, 54 pounds or less, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the exercise they're making us go through.
So-
we'll go through the exercise and see where the chips
If I'm
fall.
hearing this, sewer those things north of Agawam River, sewer them, bring them to the plant, but we can't bring them to the plant because we can't discharge more. So how
That's
do
right,
how do
that's
we
right.
take care
What they're
of all
saying-
those cesspools that are sitting
So-
on that side of that river?
If you listen, you'll get it. What they're saying is that the load from the Agawam River is impaired because of all these septic systems. That's a higher load to the river. If we take that load away and bring it to the plant, if we still maintain the 54 pounds a day, we can do it. If we don't touch those, don't even talk to them.
But we can't, we have a moratorium, and we can't put anything more in the plant.
This is down the road, because if we get the permission to go to
By a
2 million gallons a day, then your moratorium is gone.
And how,
That sounds like the state, doesn't it?
Because
well,
remember,
certainly. And somewhere down the line, we're going to pay because of all the houses upriver in Plymouth that septic systems flow down our rivers.
How are they deciding on this is loading the Wareham River?
because it's adjacent, it's right on the Agawam River, and it all goes,
Not our system,
what's that?
the areas that you have to bring in order to satisfy them.
Because they're on the Agawam River. They're literally on the Agawam River.
Oh, okay.
the septic
How
system-
did they know they're loading the Agawam River?
Because the septic system leaches into the ground, there's not a whole lot of, they say no attenuation, there may be minimum attenuation, and so you discharge directly to the river. That's the nitrogen, that's the nutrient loading that
Yeah,
is causing the problem.
how are they deciding that?
By by
Water
EPA and, but EPA, DEP testing as to what is in a normal septic system between 35 and 45 milligrams per liter of nitrogen. That's how they, that's what they use.
Think of all those homes that
They have
used
all
to
the
be the
numbers.
drive-in.
The
That's the
septic-
area they're talking about.
Bring the drive-in back.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of those homes have failed systems. We know that the condo association has a lot of failed systems.
All that north of the
it's all-
river.
that's- So they're saying it's tit for tat, because we want to increase our flow to address the moratorium from 1.5 to 2 million. So we're gaining 400,000 gallons of flow.
All those
Here's the
dwellings.
caveat, when you add that flow, we can't change the dynamics of the river. If you take these off, we may not change the dynamics of the river, so that's the exercise we're
Do
doing.
you have an estimate of how much this area would bring in inflow?
I don't. We have a ballpark, 200 houses, say 220 gallons per home. That's a
And the mo-
that's a
and the mo-
I
ballpark.
thought it included a trailer park.
And the trailer
But I haven't
parks.
got the trailer park yet. I haven't even counted the
But
trailer.
I mean, will it use it all up?
Oh, the 400,000? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Probably 55, 60,000 gallons per day to do all that sewer.
Now, let me ask another
That's, so I,
question that don't explode. Would this area require grinder pumps and a low-pressure
yes,
system?
because they have a high water table, it's flat.
So that was afraid.
Absolutely would. It would be grinder pumps. Same thing with the trailer park. Matter of fact, the trailer park has requested grinder pumps. They don't want
They don't have
gravity.
cellars, so we don't have, sorry.
Well, so what, they have a lot of failed systems because they're in water.
I was going to say, how do the systems function?
They failed, they're in water.
Not functioning.
They're not functioning. They failed. They're on the state's list. They're a high user. They themselves use about 14,000 gallons per day. They're on the state's list. They're polluting the waterway because they're in the water table. So yeah, they'd be grinder pumps. Because gravity would go deeper, 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 deeper. And so they wouldn't. So anyways, that's, yes, absolutely.
Unless they go to above-ground systems.
I don't know, maybe one day aqueducts, I don't know.
That's the question.
Anyway, so that's, it's complicated. But alls I'm saying is that we got received well, it's encouraging. We were told, the selectmen already said, ask the question, we've asked the question, and we're gonna move forward with the question. Right now, I don't know what the costs are gonna be. We'll ascertain those costs before we move with any direction, but that's where we are. So we did respond, everybody's been pushing, and here's the answer.
But the bottom line is, if the outfall to the canal is the answer to the whole region, not just Wareham.
I get it. I get it. Then they said the same thing.
And do you think if more and more pressure is being put onto those properties adjacent to the Buzzards Bay, there might be a better reception to reconsider the outfall?
Geez, I don't think
First,
that's what the
I
problem.
think the first thing you have to do is to get the towns that could be impacted directly,
Improved by, yeah.
or improved, however you want to phrase it, by this on board with the regionalization. If you have a regionalization umbrella outline that's semi-agreed upon, I think then you've got a real good chance of moving forward, because then you've got a direction to go. You've got the support behind it as far as those that are gonna need it.
Do
Because
we
they're all
start-
gonna need it. I don't care if they don't need it today, they're gonna need it.
Do we start those meetings up again like we used to have with the Bourne selectmen who are their sewer commissioners?
As long as they're not in jail.
Only one.
Well,
But, I mean, we tried. We had many, many meetings,
I was
and,
at most of them.
yes, you were. Me too.
Mr. Chairman, each one of the communities we're talking about are doing their comprehensive wastewater management plan as we speak. One of the decisions out of all these meetings was that everybody does their plan, see what their actual needs are, and then revert. So Bourne is going to complete theirs within 6 months. We're going to be there. Marion's doing theirs.
We have 6 months to I thought ours was 2 years away.
That's about 6 months. So we're trying to get everybody to assess what their real needs are. When we first started this, people were saying astronomical numbers, and so we have to, so anyways, that's where we all are.
We
So
talked, is Plymouth on board with this too? I mean, are they doing or are they on a separate plan?
they're on, right now, they're on a separate plane because the area of Plymouth that they would have to do, I think it's a Lakeview Drive area that dumps to the upper part of the Buttermilk Bay. They'd like to, but I don't know if they can. They got a lot going on downtown, a lot going on with the treatment
That's not
plant.
their priority at the moment.
They've got a lot going
realize
on,
that.
so I don't know if they're going to engage.
Would that,
What about Marion?
Marion's doing their comprehensive plan. It's indicated, I think Weston Sampson's doing their plan, has indicated that they believe that they may be better on their own, but they've got some internal things they're going through. I think they have a new town administrator, things like that, so I can't give you an answer. It hasn't come out.
What
We
other
can just
towns
guess, and I don't want to go there.
To get under that umbrella?
Basically, though, really just Marion and,
Marion, Bourne, Wareham, and Mass Maritime.
I mean,
That's
Middleborough
maritime.
wouldn't do you any good.
it wouldn't hurt, well, I don't know if they would do it, but if they would do it, some Carver would be closer. But that wouldn't be a,
this
They've
would
got
be
their
a
own
tough
plans,
side. Didn't Bourne vote not to allow the outfall at a town meeting?
well, yeah, but that's,
Non-binding.
that's
I mean,
that was a non-binding.
very well, but it gives you the feeling of what's happening in that community. They're not going to be very receptive to it.
Well, if you look at what's happening on the Cape as a whole, they're gonna have to become receptive to something.
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're gonna be directly affected with all of that stuff. Whether they like it or not, as much as they wanna bury their head in the sand on some of this.
I have a question. Wasn't that long ago we talked about a standalone, self-contained septic system in remote areas or different areas? Could that take care of the property north of Agawam? We talked about it out in Shangri-La.
A decentral,
We
but the
talked
problem,
about taking care of Kendrick Pump Station.
the problem is, in this area, immediate area, would be having enough groundwater. I'm sorry, well, we have to have a field, because we're going to do a groundwater discharge, and there's no good area along the river to have a groundwater discharge. And if it's too close to the river, it's really going to the
Well, I
river,
know,
not the
I know, that's
groundwater.
why we're not
So
going to do
that's
it
why-
across
in that
our
area,
river.
that's right.
That's why we're not going to do it
The
next
other
to mine.
areas we're looking at, we're talking with Makepeace. They have a plant up at the head
So-
of Pilgrim, and we got the DEP involved.
There's
We're
no
talking to them, so it's not-
upland north of Agawam we could use.
Shangri-La area?
No, north of Agawam, we were just talking, the section where the old drive-in used to be. There's no
Yes.
upland up there at all. It's all too sandy and too close to the river.
Close to the river.
Too close to the
I
river,
think more, because there's a piece of land that Mr. Barboza owns he's trying to sell, but it's too close to the
to
river.
the river.
To discharge to, because it
Yep.
literally, because again, the key is attenuation, and there's 100 opinions
But if
on
we
attenuation.
discharge,
It's
we'd be
too close.
discharging good water.
It's just too close to the river.
Too
put
close to the
sewer in.
river, okay.
So we can't go
All
there.
right, just thinking.
No,
It's typical who's on first.
it's crazy. A lot of environmentalists involved, so
All right,
a lot of opinions, and you got to vet through them all and figure it out, just one at a time. A
so
lot
I'm
of
glad we
comments.
had a meeting.
It's kind of neat. We're in Onset, Vectoring in Onset. The Vector truck is doing great. Today it was in Cremisa, helping the municipal maintenance. They have a couple streets that are totally flooded. I think Kamado Drive, I mean, I'm talking totally flooded. And so we're trying to clear the drainage for them. So we've been there all day. We'll go back tomorrow to solve that issue. It's, the truck has really been a godsend, so we're thankful for that.
So why is it flooding? Is it up?
Drainage, you have drainage problems. So we're cleaning the drainage lines.
The sewer department is
Yeah, we are.
clearing
Our truck is.
our truck is. Okay, aren't they supposed to take care of that, what, MS4?
Yeah, that's part of it. We're helping out. We have the vehicle to do it,
Okay,
so we're doing it. It just makes sense. They bring us stone all the time, they plow, so it's kind of a, we're in the same town. I know it creates into.
It only makes sense to do it.
It doesn't. The residents there need it, right? And so I don't want to get into a
as
contest.
long as people realize it's not sewer overflowing.
Well, they
You
did.
said flooding.
They did, because the people out there in their front lawns, and they can't walk across the street, they know what's going on.
Then
It's
don't-
been like this from the rain, so they know what's
Go
going
over there
on.
and start throwing toilet paper in that water.
I know.
But I just want people to know it's not sewer.
They know, that's why they asked us,
But
they know.
the people, you said flooded, I didn't want people to think
No, it's flooded.
we had problems.
Storm drains are
More
not
than we
us.
already have, but it's the storm drains that are overflowing, not the sewer lines.
Storm drains.
Heavy
Thank you.
rain- Heavy rains like
Storm
an
drains.
indoor pool.
Okay,
So,
all
yeah, so I
right.
don't want to, anyway, so the truck is really doing a great job. It's out through Onset, we've got most of Onset done. Our new permit requires that we camera every single line. So we're trying to comply with, we got a year and a half to map everything. We ordered a new computer program, so we're trying to comply with the new orders.
Guy, what is the length of piping we have in town?
90 miles.
90 miles, that's what I thought.
Upper Cape is coming the 3rd. They're bringing some students. We're trying to think of some, and you all are welcome to come tour with them. We do a couple tours a year with Upper Cape. We're also doing Falmouth Elementary School this year. Bring the kids in, walk the river, talk about wastewater and the importance of the environment, et cetera, et cetera. It's really a good time, so I encourage you guys to come. It's February 3rd, 9 o'clock.
Upper Cape has a program for this, don't they?
They have an environmental program. We've worked with a lot of the students' internship, and then we've worked with Mass Maritime, the internship, so it's good to get these kids. Wastewater is kind of an ucky thing, right? Most people say wastewater, icky, you know, so to get kids excited because we have no staffing. So how do we get them excited about wastewater, the importance of the environment? We're hitting pharmaceutical. The things that we're doing today is not like, I keep saying, the days of Art Carney where you just pull the sludge out and you're done. It's actual treatment. It's high treatment throughout the country. So anyways, we're trying to get them excited about wastewater. So we're hoping it's a way to recruit young minds to get involved. We've been successful. We have some kids, people have left. I could name 5 or 6 top of my head, come through that program and went on to other communities. So we've been successful. It's a good thing. So I would invite you the 3rd to come and meet these kids. They're pretty exciting.
What time is that going to be, Guy?
9 o'clock, February 3rd. Come enjoy them. They're young minds. They're eager. I think they'd appreciate it. We extended the date for the completion of the filters. We're having a hard time getting electrical actuators. So we have to keep extending the contract. The contract, the DEP, is I believe we're probably 99% reimbursed of the money we spent, which is $8 million. We spent it, we're reimbursed, now we're going to borrow. Even though they gave it back, we're still going to borrow money. But nonetheless, we can't close the contract until the actuators that actually operate the valves
Are in place?
are in place. So we keep postponing or extending the contract until the actuators arrive. They've been, I mean, gosh, it's supposed to be here September. We haven't seen them yet, don't know when they're coming, so.
You didn't say which September, did they?
They did not.
Okay.
Electrical components has been a nightmare. We have a generator we ordered, it's going on 15 months, we haven't seen them yet. One in Cremisa, one in Indian Mountain Beach, we haven't seen them yet. So certain things are difficult, certain things aren't, but this is one. So that's where we are with that. Sludge disposal, Synagro down again, that's our vendor, that's our disposal site. New England's really hurting. We're talking to the DEP, we talked to the EPA about it. With the advent of PFAS and the testing of PFAS, landfills are no longer accepting sludge. Incinerators have greater requirements, so they're very, very restrictive as what they can take. So Massachusetts has a capacity issue. We've got more sludge than we can treat, or we have places to go. So Synagro shut down. They'll be shut down till the middle of February, so we have some issues. We have to hold sludge in the facility. We can't get rid of it, so it's going to be a challenge.
Well, where do we hold it?
We hold it in our tanks. They rise. We just keep holding it. We've got holding tanks. We'll fill it up. So next week we'll try to get a load or two to help us, but it slows everything down. It gets kind of crazy. We'll carry a lot more in the basins, so it's going to be.
So we put the sludge in the basins?
We don't bring it into
Well,
the plant.
I'm just trying to-
So when it all comes into the plant, it's full of all kinds of, if we put it through the aeration, we create a lot of sludge. Then we take it to the clarifiers and they fill up. Usually we empty the clarifiers, we'll just keep filling up the clarifiers. We'll just keep filling it up.
And we fill up to the point of
Then
where,
we're in trouble.
do we shut down?
No, we can't shut down.
Then where do
because
we put the,
to the river, if it gets to that point, we've never done that.
I don't want, no, don't say that. Where, is there any place we can put this on site to hold it until we can get a truckload to leave? No, no, no.
The river.
It's-
And so we try to
I'm not
fill
gonna put
all the
sludge in
tanks
the
we
river.
can. I don't want to either. We never have. We've been here before. This problem's been going on for, I think we've been talking about it for 4 years.
So what's the state doing to help us?
Putting in more
They're looking into
regulations.
it. They're looking into it. They're trying to get us
Well, looking
answers.
into it. So it isn't just us, but every sewer,
Every plant in Massachusetts is struggling.
So what happens to Boston? Oh, they put it back out into the bay.
I think Boston they make,
Send it to Washington, they wouldn't notice
I
it.
think Boston makes monogonite. Don't they make pellets?
I don't know.
I think there's Nut Island, I believe.
I was joking.
I think they do.
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
I think that's, so they have an answer, and then they bag it and they ship it. So they have an answer.
Can't we
I think
send
they
ours to
market it.
them?
They bag it and they ship it where?
I think for fertilizer throughout the country. You can look it up, Nut Island, I forget the name of the company, but they've been doing it for years. Last I knew, you can look it up, I'm not sure, I'll look it up. But yeah, so they have a way to get rid of their sludge, we don't. We have liquid sludge, and we go to incinerators. There's only 2 incinerators that we have, one in, both in Rhode Island, one in Woonsocket, one in Cranston. When they shut down, we have no place to go.
If you dewatered the sludge, is it toxic? Can we get rid of it?
No, the landfills, it is toxic if you consider PFAS.
Excuse me?
If you consider PFAS and PFOS, they tell me it's toxic, right? It's carcinogen, they tell me a lot of different things. That's the reason
I
landfills
just
are not
watched
taking it.
something on one of the PBS programs there, and they were in a sewer system, and they were drying it and put it in trucks, and they were sending it in the fields as fertilizer.
Not in Massachusetts, not in Maine, not in Vermont. I don't know where they're doing it, but not around here. They stopped it all, the
We
regulations.
talked about drying it a couple of years ago. Never went, yeah.
Like
They
you
were
can't.
doing it in Rhode
But I
Island.
mean, drying is great, but if we still can't get rid of it,
Get rid
big
of it.
deal.
Yeah, drying it reduces the weight.
Landfills closing. There's a lot of issues, and the EPA and the DEP and the regulators are working through it, and they're actually promulgating regulations but I have no answers. No one has
You're
answers.
sending a lot more grit down to Bourne,
I am, tons of grit.
I know. But
Tons
you're
of grit,
sending-
I'm
I mean,
trucking.
You're sending a lot more than you have in the past. By far.
We're up about 400 ton right now.
Yeah.
We're sending tons of it.
And they take, what is it, 200 under the
200 ton under our agreement.
agreement?
We've never paid, now we're
We
paying.
are now.
We are paying now, we're paying dearly. Just,
But no,
it is. Well, when you got leaky pipes, you're taking
Just
all
an
the sand, we
observation,
got
yeah.
tons of sand coming at us. And so it's in the system, we cleaned out our aeration basin, can't tell you how many loads we took out. Only one basin, we got 2 to go, we don't have time to get the other 2. I got sand coming at me like crazy.
And we got the
Anyways,
sand because we have broken pipes.
well, it's one of the reasons. Okay, pump station at Hideaway Village from Bourne. I don't know if you guys remember Cheryl Fiandaca coming down from Channel 7. I met with the engineers, and they are now treating the waste through that force main to reduce the odors of the H2S at the manhole at Cohasset Road in Indian Mound Beach. So they're addressing it, and it took us many years to get here. I'm really excited about that, so. The new engineer for Bourne has been a godsend to my eyes, because he's addressing issues, he's dealing with issues, not ignoring issues, and Bourne's moving forward, so I'm pretty excited about that.
It's a plus.
It's a big plus. I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, to the moment, but that's
I
in the
have a-
last few days and end of last week, but I'll get some more for next meeting.
I have a question. While we were talking, I went on to the website. I don't know where to look to get the pictures of the camera.
It'll be on, she's off today, she didn't put it on, she's gonna put it on this morning.
Where will she put it?
I have no idea, you have to
What
ask
will,
her.
any idea what it would be called?
Probably sewer projects or something, I don't know. I'll ask her, when she's done.
Now, let us know where to find it.
Me too, I have to find out
Because I
too.
just went, because I didn't see anything called sewer projects on that page, so.
I don't know, because
Yeah.
we've got a limited page, and we put all kinds of things on it, so she moves things around, I don't know, that's beyond me. I'm not certified in computer programming, I have no.
When she
no
knows, would
concept.
you ask her to email us where it is?
Absolutely. When she,
Yeah, where we can
she'll tell
find
you
it.
where it is, because I can't tell you. I rely on her to tell me where to go look. Actually, I asked her to bring it up, makes it easier for me.
Well, you told me where to look.
Yes, there's a section, because she just put a bunch of things, you'll find some things that are going up.
Yeah,
She just did
that
some
little blue
videos.
square over on the right-hand side,
Yes,
yeah.
and she
Okay.
just did some videos, so there should be some videos there on, I think we did them on, I forget, on ice, it was on Fatberg's grease and system and rags and non-flushables and baby wipes and all the things that we're struggling with. She put that on, so
Those are scary.
it's scary, I can't even tell
Very.
you, it's very scary. So she put that on there, but that's beyond me, one less thing I don't want to do. but
Can we
that's it.
follow up on what we discussed about having a dozen or 2 dozen stills of the worst sites, so that when we get ready for this workshop, we have them? You know, rather than have to go through those hours and hours of pipe.
I'm going to try, because she'll have to, she'll have to cut them and all that, yeah.
Yeah,
If I
okay.
can't do it, if she can't do it, we'll ask Bob for his help through the radio station, the TV
Is it
station.
complicated to do? I mean, if
I
I
don't know. I think we
volunteered
cut-
to go down there and help,
Probably not, cut and clip, I don't know, it's beyond me. I'm,
does it involve a computer?
yes,
Not me.
I'm not doing it. I mean,
Forget
but
it.
I'm sure it's all doable. They put the tape up there, they mark it, and they do whatever they
You're
do to
honest
cut
as
it.
a
and
day.
Not to forget it.
It's
I can
beyond
barely
me.
turn the
But
thing on.
I'm sure they can do it.
I could screw up solitaire.
Because you gotta go
Technologically
through
challenged.
a whole bunch to get one little picture, because it's just, the camera just rolls and rolls, and all of a sudden you find something that rolls and rolls.
Before we leave, can we address the issue of the violation of Massachusetts public laws and how we are responding to the request?
Which law do we break now?
Open meeting law. Public records request. We didn't respond in time. All that it was all mailed, all the letter to Mr. Sullivan, to
it.
the public records that,
one.
I was just wondering where we stand with this request. It came to town clerk on December 2nd.
I don't know. We
And then
sent
there was-
everything we had. I mean, we got a
Well,
second.
they're saying we
There's
have it.
some selectmen stuff they want, and I really don't know.
You're saying we have it?
No, we have not.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know.
Town has withheld information from residents regarding this project, et
Who's
cetera.
it to?
This one was January 24th to Mr. Sullivan. This one
Well,
was
then let him-
this one was January 20th to State Supervisor of Records. This one went to Michelle Bissonette.
Okay, so none of them are to us.
Yeah,
Well, it goes to Michelle. Michelle disseminates. them
yeah,
with the
she
word.
sends them out to the other department
And
to
so-
respond. I
So we
understand that.
respond, and then we just give what we have, and then we're,
But I can't get a list of what we responded with. I got an email saying I responded, but I don't know what we gave.
we'll go down and see Christiana. She's got a list. She has a list, and plus all the things. If you want copies, she'll make, it's about this thick. She'll send you.
I don't want the whole thing. I just don't understand why we're identified as in violation of open meeting, of
I think it's a
public
demand,
records.
but go see Christiana.
But you never got this email?
Yeah.
You did, Donna?
No.
It went to sewer commissioners. Okay?
Did you get it, Mac?
I don't dare say what I did get
Anything from a lawyer,
after the last episode.
I seem to remember being told, anything
I'll
from a
answer you.
lawyer,
I got it.
I shouldn't respond to.
I read it.
The lawyer should respond to. Town council.
Okay?
We,
But the effort has been made to respond to it, correct, Mr.? Okay.
Okay.
Any new business? We just had it. Any other business not reasonably anticipated?
I make a motion that we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Oh, when's the next meeting?
February 9th.
Can I ask you to address what you said you'd address at the end of the meeting? Who the person was at the end of the table?
Video engineering. I started.
Ada.
I just said to ask him.
So when I
Bob Drake. Yep.
Anything now that the meeting's adjourned officially?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Good.
You have not responded to that. He asked me.
I'm sorry, Mr. White?
The meeting adjourned,
I don't think we
Yes.
voted on it.
it is adjourned.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 there we go.
You haven't responded to it.
Yeah, we have.